Right. Hi, hello everyone. It's July 10th, 2020, and I'm celebrating 5 years of YouTube. So that's pretty crazy, and I figured to celebrate, I would hop on here and just chat with you guys and hang out and just sort of do something a little bit more casual and relaxed. I know it's a Friday night and a lot of people are busy or out, and maybe people will be watching this later than watching it live, which is totally okay. I figured I would just hang out and sort of see what comes of it. I feel like that's sort of been my entire journey on YouTube as a creator. I originally started YouTube back in 2015, right before I was going to be going into high school, because I sort of felt socially awkward and anxious. I had this passion for storytelling, books, movies, TV shows, music, what have you. And I found that I was more passionate about the things I loved than other people around me. And it was just hard to feel like I fit in anywhere because I had this deep passion that I didn't see anybody else having. And after watching lots of other YouTubers and sort of seeing that there was this community where people got in front of a camera and they just talked about whatever it was they were into, there was a part of me that just wanted that for I wanted to find that community. I wanted to find those friends who shared those same interests as I do. And so I started this channel and I posted my first video, which was absolutely terrible. It's since been privated. And I've come a long way since then. I've started filming using an actual camera rather than my iPad. I've learned how to use editing software. I've made a book tag. I've had like 2 videos now that have over 1,000 views, which is absolutely crazy to me. And I am going to hopefully keep growing as the years go on. And I'm just really grateful to everyone who supported me in any capacity throughout these past 5 years. It's been a very long journey, and I know it's been filled with lots of bumps in the roads. I think ultimately I would imagine things being different for myself, but I don't know if I ever originally started this channel to have lots of subscribers and have a big platform. I did it more so for myself just because I wanted to have a place where I could geek out about things and not feel ashamed of it. And this was sort of my way of doing that. And I don't know how to say thank you enough to all the people who've been supporting me in any capacity, watching my videos, interacting with me, helping me to just feel a part of the community in any way. I'm really grateful to all of you. And it's been a long 5 years. The world has changed a lot in that time. And I'm just really grateful to have this platform and to be able to keep doing what I love. So to dive on into the live show, I'm going to be having guests pop up periodically whenever they're ready, and we're just going to chat and hang out, and we'll see what comes of this. I figured I would start out while I'm waiting for anyone, just sort of talk about what it is that I've been doing, what it is that I've been up to. I've posted a whole bunch of new videos recently talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a show I absolutely love and has come to mean a lot to me. And I've had a lot of fun with that. That show's been doing time travel, and so you've been getting into lots of different decades, and that's really been where a lot of my attention has been focused on in terms of like entertainment and storytelling, because I haven't been reading as much, mainly just because I just haven't had it in me. Like, I have lots of books on my shelf to read, but I haven't found time to just sit down and read. A large part of that is also because I've been writing. So that's a big announcement that I have to make. I've talked to a few friends about it, but I haven't really officially announced anything. But I'm working on writing a novel, so that's crazy. I would hopefully one day be published. Maybe that'll be my goal in the next 5 years when I come back and celebrate my 10-year anniversary. I will hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, have a book published. That would be cool. I never really saw myself as a writer. And then I graduated high school, and suddenly I felt like I had this story to tell and these characters that were itching to find themselves on the page. And so I started writing a draft in the summer of 2019 last year, and I was working on it until about the end of the year, and then I stopped. And then COVID happened, and I came back to that draft, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I can do something better here. And so this summer, I've been spending a lot of my time writing. And as of right now, if I'm looking at my draft, my word count is at close to 79K words. So I'm almost at 80K words, and I have several big major scenes left to write, but I'm almost done with that first draft, which has been really exciting to have that put out into the world and to be able to be working on that, particularly because I've just had a lot of fun with it, and I'm writing characters that I really, really love. I'm telling a story that I really, really love, and I'm just hoping that something will come of it. If not, I have that story for me that I've put my heart into. So that's been fun, and absolutely has been what's been occupying a lot of my time, and a lot of the reason why I didn't really post much in June, because I was spending every single day just writing for hours and hours and hours on end, and brainstorming and coming up with things for the characters and finding inspiration and doing research and all of that good stuff that it takes to put a book together. I've also been watching lots of stuff, movies and TV shows, because I haven't really been reading. So I thought maybe I'd go through the list and just talk about that for a little bit. Because I have like this long list here, and I was thinking about making a video, and then I was like, this is going to be way too long because I have way too much stuff to talk about. But so many good movies that I've been watching and TV shows that I've been watching in quarantine. And I've just been really grateful that I've had, some time to relax and be able to take in a lot of really great content, because looking into the next few months, I'm hopefully going to be moving back into my dorm in August. So that will mean that I will maybe be able to get you more videos, and I'll be shooting from a different location. I really loved my dorm in the fall, but unfortunately I had a roommate. I didn't really feel comfortable filming much, and so you didn't get to see a lot of footage there. But now I'm going to be having my own room, a single, so I'm absolutely planning on filming a dorm tour and showing you guys around once I set up that whole space, because I'll have my own room, I'll have my own bathroom. It will be so nice. I'll also be working as a resident assistant at my dorm, so that'll be something that'll be taking up a decent amount of my time along with classes. So September is probably going to get busy, and I'm anticipating that'll probably be another slow point for me in terms of uploading content, but we'll see how it goes, because that's obviously a long way down the line. But I'm excited about that, because that'll be a video for all of you to look forward to, and I'm really excited to get to decorate my dorm and have it be customized all to myself, and hopefully that'll be a fun video and be filmed well when it all comes together. And I'm excited to be moving back. It's a whole month early. A lot of people at my dorm don't move in until like the end of August, and I'm gonna have to be the person that's in charge of all of that, so that'll be crazy. But I'm looking forward to it, and it'll be nice to get to work on something. So there's that. Okay. I'm just gonna dive right on into this list, and we'll see when any guests show up. Okay. Just gonna send out brief message. Beautiful. Okay, so I've been watching lots of really great movies recently, some of which I've kind of already talked about in some of my Booktube Live shows, which thank you, all of you who have joined in those shows in any capacity. That really meant a lot to me. It was cool to get to be in my local newspaper in a story talking about that. It was cool to just get to talk to so many different creators and have a lot of really great conversations and get to meet a lot of new people whose content I haven't watched before. You all are really lovely and really helped to make my quarantine, and it was great to get to meet so many of you and talk with so many of you. And I know that during one part of the live shows, we were sort of talking about content and things we were taking in. So I talked a little bit about all the journalism movies I was watching. If you do not know, I am a broadcast journalism major and social media and digital strategies minor. And so after coming home and being sent home, I was kind of let down, feeling sort of bummed about not being able to be on campus. And so I decided to seek out as many journalism films as possible. And so I watched quite a few. I watched Spotlight, The Post, All the President's Men, Zodiac, and His Girl Friday. His Girl Friday is an older movie. It's black and white, I believe, with Cary Grant. My dad had me watch that, and it was actually really good. And I was surprised how progressive it was for taking place before World War II. You have a woman journalist that's absolutely kick-ass and one of the smartest characters in that whole movie. I was impressed. And I particularly enjoyed Spotlight. I wasn't expecting to like that movie that much, but everyone on my campus was recommending it, specifically some of my professors, as people in the journalism field. And so I knew that I needed to watch it, especially after getting to watch Mark Ruffalo's panel at C2E2, which was like one of the last major conventions to happen before coronavirus shut everything down, which was crazy to have been there and to be able to say that that was something that I was at, because God, who knows when we're going to be able to have conventions like that again. But Mark Ruffalo obviously is in Spotlight, and so it was cool to get to hear him talk a little bit about that film, and I knew I immediately needed to watch it, and so I did that, and it was really phenomenal. I mean, all of those movies were great and have such wonderful casts of people, and particularly was a really great take on journalism in that whole world, and I took a lot away from it. So if you're looking for journalism films to watch, I absolutely recommend all of those. They are phenomenal. Let's see. I watched Parasite. Finally, I've been meaning to watch it for a while, and my grandparents had invited me over to watch it, and this was like relatively recently, so we were social distancing, staying safe, of course, as always, because that's definitely a concern of mine, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like I would like to look at like a lot of the symbolism and a lot of the foreshadowing and different things that were put into that movie, because I feel like I missed it when I was watching it for the first time, because I was more so focused on the actual story and what it was that was happening than trying to see how it was being told and put together. But I absolutely believe that that film deserved all of the Oscars that it got. It was so good and so incredibly well directed, and I was really glad that I got to watch that, because it's rare for me to like get to watch all of the Academy Award winning films, just mainly because I'm always so busy and I rarely go out to the theater, and when I do, it's for a movie that I'm absolutely anticipating and need to see. So lots of these other films that catch my interest but maybe I'm not entirely intrigued enough to go to the theater to see, I just completely like pass by my radar. So I'm glad that I finally got to see that and that it was on Hulu, and I had a good time watching it. I watched Fantastic Four after doing my Marvel live show, which if you want to check that out, I'll have it in the description for this video. But that live show was particularly really fun to get to talk about the MCU and everything. And I'd never watched the original Fantastic Four movies, and I'd been meaning to watch them for a while, but I never got around to them. And I watched the original ones with Chris Evans, and they were terrible, but in the best way possible. I particularly enjoyed Chris Evans as the Torch. He was great, and I think it was interesting to get to see him play a character that was so obnoxious, because Captain America is obviously the role that he's come to be known for, and he's so like charismatic and loyal and good. So to see him play a character opposite that was really interesting, especially within the same Marvel world. And he was the highlight of those movies. But that aside, it was very, 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 very cringy. And sometimes you need a good cringy movie. So I had fun watching those. I watched Onward and Frozen 2. Those both dropped early on Disney Plus. I wanted to see Onward in theaters, but I didn't get to it before everything was shut down due to COVID. But I really enjoyed watching it on Disney Plus. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are fantastic, and I absolutely think they have great chemistry, and I loved the brotherly relationship that was depicted between the two characters. And there's so many great reviews out there that talk about this film and a really great way. Particularly, I remember watching the Super Carlin Brothers review of Onward, and they talked about like the brotherly relationship, and obviously that's something I would not understand being an only child, and I think they really did a good job talking about that. And particularly the film itself was really beautiful. And there's lots of Easter eggs and things in there that I missed. And so it's been fun to get to go back and get to look and find all of those things. Frozen 2, I thought, was better than Frozen 1. That's probably a hot take, but it's okay. I really loved, in particular, Jonathan Groff's number. A lot of people didn't like it, but I loved that it felt very Queen-esque and was like a great rock ballad. I don't know if it necessarily fit into the movie, but I had a lot of fun with it. I think this story in itself also felt more mature because it aged up with the audience members who were younger when they first watched it. And it was weird to me to think that Frozen was 7 years old. That's crazy to me because it feels still so recent and it's going to be almost a decade old. Time flies, guys. It really does. And so that was good to get to see, and I loved the mental health conversations, particularly surrounding Anna as a character. And I was glad I just finally got to see it because I know everyone was talking about it when it first came out, but I decided to see Knives Out rather than seeing Frozen 2. I just didn't get time to see both on my Thanksgiving break because I really don't get much of a break for Thanksgiving in my college, so that was unfortunate. But hey, I got to see it now, so that's all that matters. I watched Baby Driver. This isn't the best thing to talk about right now because Ansel Elgort is gross, but I did watch it. It was okay. Honestly, I don't think I loved it the way that lots of other people love it. And I was also kind of half paying attention when I was watching it, but the action was good. Good cast for the most part. But, now I'm thinking about it, Kevin Spacey and Ansel Elgort. That's some yikes, really. So, moving on. I started to get into a little bit of a Sam Claflin phase again. I've just been trying to avoid living in 2020 as much as possible. So I've been taking deep dives into nostalgia, regardless of whether it's the music I'm listening to or the movies I'm watching or whatever. And with the Hunger Games coming up, I was I need to watch some more of Sam's films. So I watched Love, Writing, Repeat, which was dropped on Netflix, I think in April or May, sometime around then. And that was a really fun story about fate and meeting the right person and the right place and the right time and all of that good stuff. And Olivia Munn is in it. Sam Claflin is also in it. And it's essentially trying to get their two characters together in all these weird and wacky different situations. It's a fun movie. I recommend it if you're looking for something cute and lighthearted. It was great. Made me miss Sam. He's such a good actor. And I forgot that he's going to be in the movie adaptation of the Taylor Jenkins Reid. That's it. Yeah, the Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm tempted to read the book now because he's going to be in the movie adaptation, but we shall see whether that happens or not. I also watched Love, Rosie, which I'd been meaning to watch for years but never got around to. And I'm glad I did that. It was a really cute story, although I was kind of annoyed by the end of it, but it was cute rom-com, and it was definitely helpful for me in terms of inspiration for my writing because I'm writing a romantic comedy, and it was nice to get to walk down, I don't want to walk down memory lane. It wasn't necessarily a memory lane, but get to see a young Sam Claflin and Lily Collins, two actors that I really, really love, in a movie together. Hell yeah. And I don't know why I didn't watch it earlier. I don't know if they took it off of Netflix. And that may have been one of the reasons why I watched it too, was because they were taking it off of Netflix. And I was like, if I don't watch it now, I'm never going to watch it. And so I did. And it was wonderful. I've seen all the Star Wars films now. That was another thing that I did while in quarantine. I got to see episodes 1 through 3, all the prequels, and then episode 9. And that was a time. I find it quite interesting that Star Wars is this big universe that everyone really, really loves. But in terms of its main films, a lot of people don't like the prequels and nobody really likes the sequels. So, when you got just the original trilogy running for you, it's crazy that this world is so big and expansive and Disney has hyped it up so much. But it was good to get to watch them. I really liked episode 3 in particular. Thought it was good. And I'm glad I can say that I watched those just to sort of say I saw them, even though I knew what was going to happen in every single one of them for the most part as I went into the films. 1 and 2 were really, really boring. I will say that. But I can say that I've watched them. I feel like that has sort of been my thing with a lot of pop culture stuff, is I've just consumed it to say that I've consumed it, not because I'm genuinely invested in it, but then there's other things that absolutely capture my attention. It kind of just all depends. I watched Real Genius. That was an 80s movie. There was a few good moments. I particularly like the conversations that were had about education, all these really smart kids and getting burned out really quickly, because that's also sort of a theme in the book that I'm writing. And so it was nice to watch a movie that had that storyline in the 80s, because I just wouldn't have expected that to be a conversation that was had during that time period. But there was lots of just dick jokes, things that I thought just were like off brand, and I just wasn't like into it in that regard, because that's not my sense of humor. But it was a fun movie. I thought the ending was smart and clever, that they took one line that's written in the movie and used that as a hook for their ending. That's clever writing, so fan of that. But yeah, otherwise wasn't really enjoying it too much. I feel really bad. I'm talking about a lot of these movies, and it was like, yeah, they're okay. I mean, this is not going how I wanted it to, but it's okay. Concerts. I watched lots of taped concerts. I feel like that's going to be a new thing now, because going to in-person concerts is also another thing that's not going to be happening for a while. The City of Lover concert that Taylor Swift put on, it was like an hour special on ABC and then was put on Disney Plus. I watched that and it was really good. There was a whole bunch of songs that were cut from it that I would have really liked to have seen. I think a large part of it was because of whatever happened with Scott Borchetta and Scooter Braun, and that was upsetting that was a thing that happened, because there were so many of those songs that I was looking forward to. But the songs we did get were really good, and it was fun to get to watch that. Taylor Swift is so amazing. I continually go back and listen to her music, especially Reputation. I love Reputation. It's such a good album. And I know a lot of people were looking forward to Loverfest this year, and obviously that's not happening. But maybe in 2021, fall of 2021, who knows? This could be going on for a while. So we'll see whenever any of that happens again. I watched Ben Platt's concert, which was amazing. Sing to Me Instead. That album was absolutely my album of 2019. I had tears running down my face when I watched it for the first time, or when I listened to it for the first time, rather. And I felt like that album for me was really iconic in just describing my year and what I was going through at the time. And that album has particularly also been inspiration for my writing. And I've had a lot of fun with getting to listen to different songs and music, and getting to sort of curate a playlist for the book that I'm writing. And so it was really fun to watch Ben Platt's live concert, particularly because I wanted to get to see him in Chicago, which was his opening date for tour, and I didn't get to. I think because it was getting close to the end of my senior year, and I was just really busy, and it didn't happen. But, oh my gosh, that live Radio City special was so good, and I had a lot of fun watching him. Ben Platt is such an amazing performer. I love his music, and I'm so excited for him to release a new album, because all of his stuff, for some reason, really, really resonates with me in a personal way. So it was good to get to watch that. Talked about His Girl Friday. I watched Running Scared. That's a cop movie, which, again, not in very good taste, but one of the reasons why I watched it was because it was set in the city of Chicago, and there was particularly one still frame, which I'll pull it up on my phone, because I believe I should still have it here, that I thought was pretty cool. It may have gotten deleted off of my phone. We'll see if I still have it. But anyway, it was like a direct shot of my dorm building in the 80s, which was really cool to get to time travel in a way and see what my campus looked like before it was ever really my campus. That was special. It was fun. Here we go. All right. It's this shot right here. So that building is the one that has all the windows. Right here is where I have all of my journalism classes, all the classes in my major and my minor. So it was really weird to see it like this and not be bright blue. And my dorm building should be like right around where that parking sign is. Like, right here. And that same sign is still there on, I believe it's like Congress, State and Congress, something like along those lines. And that's really crazy that that exact same sign is still there. And so I had a lot of fun watching the movie for that and just getting to see how the city has changed, a city that I've spent a decent amount of my time in on my college campus. And then I watched Snow White with my grandparents. I helped them set up Disney Plus, and my grandpa wanted to watch Snow White, so I watched that with him. And it was weird to see how far animation has come for Disney, because it's been years since I've watched Snow White. And it was definitely a time to like take that walk down memory lane and watch that. And I also watched Hamilton. Oh my goodness. The original Broadway cast of Hamilton. I have seen them. My eyes and ears have been blessed by them at the same time. That was crazy. I had so much fun watching it, and I need to go back and watch it again. I don't know why I haven't yet. I've mainly just been listening to the cast recording rather than sitting down and watching it. But getting to watch Daveed Diggs do Guns and Ships and Chris Jackson sing One Last Time, and getting to see Leslie Odom Jr.'s full Room Where It Happens, there are so many really good moments, and the way that it was filmed was unlike any other Broadway filmed production I have ever seen. It was so good, and I had the best time watching that and singing along to it. It was amazing, and props to Lin-Manuel Miranda for just being so wonderful and just constantly being able to put out content and be the genius that he is. That whole production was beautiful, and I had a lot of fun watching it. And I was just really happy that it dropped early, because I know we were supposed to be watching In the Heights right now. I know I would have gone to the theaters and seen it had it been released, but next summer shall happen. I don't know. Words. All right. Let's see. Now moving on to TV. I have a few shows that I've been watching. I watched Little Fires Everywhere on Hulu after reading the book, and that was a fun time. I personally like the end of Little Fires Everywhere, the show, rather than the ending of the book. And I thought that Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon did a really, really good job in both of their roles. And I thought the conversations that were had was really interesting. And I think it was just, for me, I think for the most part, I may have enjoyed the adaptation better than the book, although there were some choices that the adaptation made that I was not a fan of, to be real honest. Like, there were things where I was like, not for me. But overall, good adaptation. I watched Sports Night at the recommendation of my television production teacher, who works on a news show in Chicago, and that was fun. I only made it a season and a half in, which is unfortunate. I just couldn't make it through the second half of the second season because it started to just, like, the writing was just terrible. And I was like, I see why the show got canceled over 2 seasons. Although some of the episodes were good and really punched. I really had fun with the first season, but then the second season, I couldn't make it to the end. Maybe I'll try to finish it, but it wasn't happening. I watched Queer Eye season 5. I love Queer Eye so much. It's so good. And I feel like there was this period in the beginning of June where like 5 billion different shows all dropped new seasons and content all at once. And I was spending a lot of my time making my way through all of that, which is another reason why I wasn't uploading, because I was just watching lots of stuff and spending a lot of my time binge watching. Ooh, which I forgot another show that I need to add to this list. So I'm going to do that really quickly. There we go. Okay. But Queer Eye season 5. This show continually keeps on getting better, and I love it. I loved some of the changes that they made in editing the show. I think, they had the heroes with them in one of their little montagey things in between scenes, which I thought was really cool at the end to get to see their full transformation. And I think they changed up some of the ways that they introduce some of the heroes and some of the ways they do their intros, just things like that I really enjoyed. And overall, Queer Eye is something that I will always love. It's so good and always uplifting and just a good time overall. I watched the final season of Fuller House. That, I believe, came out in 2015 and is one of the things that I started talking about on my channel. And I think I privated all of those videos because they weren't very good. But Fuller House, I love. That's such a large part of my childhood. I grew up watching Full House. It's like one of the first shows I remember watching. And I remember specifically having like a box television and my mom trying to find Full House on Teen Nick, like Nick at Night, and not being able to get it because we have our box television and me being so upset. And I think like in first grade, my mom bought me the box set of all the DVDs and I grew up watching that show. And so when I found out that Fuller House was going to be happening, I got Netflix. Like I would not have Netflix if it wasn't for Fuller House. And I was immediately so excited to see that cast back. I think that there was some seasons that felt a little bit campier to me than others, but I really loved the conclusion. I thought it was really good. The ending made me really emotional, particularly seeing like all the cast members together and so many different guest stars from throughout the show's history. And it was really emotional. It was a good time. And my friend Emily is texting me as I'm going through all of this. So Emily, you want to know what I also watched? I watched all the episodes of Love, Victor. I think I went through and watched them all in one day. I just went through and powerhoused through it. I think it was like a day or two after we had hung out. I watched through all of Fuller House first, and then I watched Love, Victor. And, whoa, I wasn't expecting the ending of that show. I wasn't sure how it was going to end because I'm not sure if it was written to be like, let's get a second season, or if it was written to be like one and done. It doesn't seem like that was the case because it ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, but I loved it. It's great to see an author be able to get an expansion of the story that they've created in such a unique way. I feel like that doesn't really happen often. And the adaptation was really good. The cast was really good. And it was a good story. And it was a very like cute contemporary. I had a lot of fun watching it. I think it was one of the better shows that I've watched this quarantine. Had a good time with it. And I'm excited for there to be a second season if there is one. I think we haven't really gotten any word on that yet, mainly because we have no idea when like a filming would be taking place and all of the logistics, because that seems like that's a long way away. But it was a good show. Definitely insane. Lots of crazy plot twists and things coming that I wouldn't have expected. That made it fun to watch. God. I watched Defending Jacob with Chris Evans because I knew I was going to need to get to that at some point because I read the book during quarantine. It's one of the reasons why I started using Overdrive. I saw that that Defending Jacob was on Overdrive, and I was like, great, I'm going to read this because Chris Evans is going to be in the adaptation, and I've been looking forward to the adaptation for a while. I think since Chris Evans was filming it, and I was planning on reading the book, and then I just kind of did it in like the month or two before it was released on before it was released on Apple TV, and I used a 1-week free trial to watch it. And I was surprised a little bit by the ending, to be real honest, because the book ends on a relatively like closed note. Like you're pretty much like, great, that's what happened. And you walk away feeling, for the most part, not necessarily like satisfied, but you have a conclusion. This show, for some reason, decided to end on a more open-ended note, which I thought was weird because normally it's always the opposite. Like I was thinking about Little Fires Everywhere, the adaptation, which definitely changes the ending of the book to be more closed shut. Paper Towns does the same thing. That had a very open-ended ending in the book, and the movie completely changes around the plot so it can be more closed shut. Defending Jacob, for some reason, decided we're not going to play by those rules. And so we got this really weird open-ended ending that I was not too much of a fan of. But Chris Evans is always phenomenal. I feel like I expected the character that he played to be older in my mind. So it was weird to see him be a dad because those like things just don't process in my head. But he did a good job. It was a good cast. It was particularly nice to see him and Jaden Martell, whoever his last name is. That was really terrible. Back together again because they were both in Knives Out, and obviously I love Knives Out. That's such a good movie, and I need to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched Knives Out, and I need to do that. And then I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've had a whole bunch of reviews talking about that show. It's my favorite show. I love it. It's so good, and particularly the most recent episode that aired on Wednesday I have been waiting for months, and it wrecked me, and I haven't been okay since. It was an 80s themed episode, and it was everything. And I think a large part of that was because my favorite character in the show had all of these really good moments. I'll hopefully be screaming about it to you soon in a new video. But until then, you're going to have to wait for it. And then I've been watching more Impractical Jokers content. I've talked about Impractical Jokers on my channel a little bit too. And I watched Dinner Party and Misery Index. Those are two Impractical Jokers Tenderloin shows. Dinner Party is particularly fun because it's nice to get to see all the guys sit down and eat and have guests. And it's kind of very casual, sort of like this is. And it's fun to have that sort of casual conversation with friends, especially people who've known each other for like 30 something years. And Misery Index, that's fun. It's a good show. Jamila Jamil hosts it, and you're getting to watch all of these different clips of people doing really embarrassing, painful things, and they rate it, and there's like, it's a competition show. I think it really only works because the guys are on it and they have such great chemistry and commentary and make that very fun. So yeah, I think that's about it for that list. Lots of stuff that I've been watching, and there's probably things that I left off of this list. John Mulaney, duh. I was watching several of John Mulaney's comedy specials. That was one of the things that I went through during this pandemic. I watched all of his Netflix specials, including the Sack Lunch Bunch. And John Mulaney is brilliant. He is great. I love that he's from Chicago, and that Chicago, I don't want to say has ownership of him because that sounds weird, but like, great to see people from my city thriving and being brilliant because he's such a good writer. His Delta Airlines bit, for some reason, I find so funny, and I can't tell you why, other than like, I relate to it on such like a spiritual level of just like constantly being stepped on time and time again and just sort of putting up with it because you're too nice to do anything about it. And so for me, like, that's A+ writing, and I just feel like there's like John Mulaney's comedy it's so good. That's like the type of comedy that I look for, and it's brilliant. All right, that's that. Let's see. What else is going on here? I've been reading a little bit during quarantine. I did a decent amount of reading in June. I think a large part of that was because I finally got around to reading the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan, and that was a lot of fun. I wasn't planning on reading Percy Jackson ever. I just thought there's like too many books in that world, and it's gonna be too late for me to catch up. And then the Disney Plus show was announced, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a big thing when it comes out, and I have the time to read these books now, and I was able to get them all through Overdrive with very little wait, so I decided I might as well go for it, and I did, and I had lots of fun reading them. Granted, I don't think I enjoyed them in the way that I would have if I had read them when I was younger. Again, it was another one of those things where I was reading it just to say that I've read it, but it was good. And I'm glad that there's so many people that love this series and that it's impacted so many people, and that Rick Riordan is just this really great, diverse, there's this really great author who's able to create so many diverse characters, and so many people are able to find a piece of themselves in that series. It's really, really special. And I can see why these stories are so beloved. And I'm trying to get through the Heroes of Olympus series, which is the sequel series, and I've only read The Lost Hero, which I was surprised to see that a part of it took place in Chicago. That was really exciting for me because I absolutely wasn't expecting that, and that was a highlight of the first book. But I've been waiting for Overdrive to bring in all of my holds for the rest of the series because I'm not going to buy the rest of the books because I'm going to be moving into my dorm soon, and I don't have time to be hauling a whole bunch of books with me, especially a new series, because I already have a decent amount of books that I'm probably going to be bringing with me. So that's not something that I want to do. So hopefully I'll get to finishing that series in the future. Speaking of other things I've been reading, watching, I read / watched Coriolanus by William Shakespeare. They put Tom Hiddleston's version of Coriolanus that he did in like 2014, 2015 in London up to stream for a few days, and I immediately went to YouTube, pulled out my collected works of William Shakespeare, and read along with the play as I was watching Tom Hiddleston's performance. And I've heard about Tom Hiddleston doing Shakespeare for years, and to finally get to see him do Shakespeare was amazing, because I've been wanting to read Coriolanus for years because he did it, and now I finally got around to it. So thank you to the YouTube for whoever for releasing that and giving that to us, because that was great. I'm a mess, in case you haven't noticed. This whole thing is just a mess. It's a train wreck. That's honestly what feels like this, like my 5 years on YouTube has sort of been like lots of ups and downs, lots of chaos. I read James and the Giant Peach. Taika Waititi did this thing where he read James and the Giant Peach with a whole bunch of his friends, and that was a lot of fun. That was a nice period in quarantine to get to look forward to one of those videos. I think he did them Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, so getting to look forward to so many of those each week was fun, and it was nice to get to kind of read a simple child story with such a great group of people. Taika Waititi's brilliant, and that was a lot of fun. I finally got around to reading some Jeff Zentner. I didn't meet him, but I was at an author event that he was at in 2016, I believe. Yes, because it was the same year as BookCon, 2016. And I read Ray and Delia's Midnight Matinee, and that's sort of has like Svengoolie vibes, and my dad grew up watching Svengoolie. I got to see the set that Svengoolie was shot on because my professor works at the studio where it's shot, and when we got to visit the studio, we got to take a tour, and I got to see all of that, which was really cool, especially because my dad grew up watching it, and so naturally I did as well. If you're not familiar with Svengoolie, because you're not from the Chicagoland area, it's essentially a like campy creature feature show. And so that's what this book is. The two main characters have their own version of that on a local cable station. And then they're having to go off to college and kind of figure out, like, what do they want to do for themselves? Do they want to keep the show running? And it's really emotional and really cute. And I honestly didn't know what to expect from Jeff Zentner as an author, because he's like this guy who has tattoos. He seems a little bit like tough, but he wrote like the fluffiest, cutest book with some really interesting, complex characters. And I was really impressed. Like, I was absolutely not what I was expecting from him. And I had a lot of fun with it. And I'm like thinking about now my whole experience reading it, because I also read that via Overdrive. I'm reading so many books via Overdrive now. And normally I hated ebooks, and I've been having a lot of fun with all the ebooks I've been reading. So who knows? Maybe I'll start reading more ebooks, and that'll become a new thing for me. I think as a college student, that's probably particularly helpful because we can't haul physical books everywhere. It's just a pain. But really loved that book. It was a very good contemporary story, and I had fun reading it. I think it was another one that I like powered through in about 24 hours. I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. My review for that will be coming on Monday. I know I had my whole reading vlog up, and I posted that right before things started to get crazy, and I took some time away. And that reading vlog was a pain to edit, by the way. That was just so many clips, and it was a struggle. But I put that out there. That's out in the world for you to watch. And so I finally put my review together, and I thought my review was terrible at first. And when I went back to edit it, I was actually really happy with how it came together. And I think that's one of the reasons why it took so long for me to put out, mainly because I just thought the footage was bad, and actually wasn't. I actually was happy with the final product, which was nice, because so many videos I film and then think they're terrible, and I never get around to actually getting to post them. So it was nice to have a final product come out well. But The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, that was something. And more of my thoughts on that will be coming soon. I read Tweet Cute, which you all would know because I posted a video where I baked monster cake. That was a lot of fun. And I got to share it with a few of my friends. And that book was a really cute, fluffy, contemporary story. And I enjoyed reading it. I got to read Gemina and Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. It was fun to get to reread the Illuminae files. I got to listen to the audiobooks finally, because so many people have been raving about those audiobooks, and they were fantastic. It was nice to get to read the book while listening to the audiobooks, because the production on those things is amazing, and getting to do those together was really fun. And I was doing that, I think, before I started up all of my classes again, so I was able to get through those pretty quickly. Although the audiobooks, I think, are like 12, 13 hours long, but I was listening to them, I think, at like 1.5 speed. So it went by pretty quickly, and everyone who did the audiobooks full cast was great. Oh, hello, we have a guest. Hi.
Oh, hi. Well, there's a Booktube veteran.
Hi.
Am I on? Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Gabby. Oh my God. Yay, for 5 years. Right? 5?
Absolutely crazy.
It's so crazy
that I've been doing this so long. And a large part of that is because of you. Like, I feel like I started my channel in 2015, but I feel like I really didn't find my groove until like 2016. I think a large part of that was like being at BookCon, getting to be surrounded by all these booktubers and creators and authors, and getting to have that whole experience and really getting to be a part of the community. And I owe a large part of that to you, because watching all of your...
Not large of part. You have always been such a go-getter, and like always putting yourself out there, and you're on top of it. And when it comes to like books you love and new releases, and like you know the secret, which is that you just have to like show your face and work hard and like be there. And you are so awesome and badass, and I'm so glad you're part of BookTube.
Thank you.
Now you are like a veteran.
It's crazy. Yeah. The whole 5 years have gone by. I mean, so much has changed, obviously, in the world. It's a very weird time, but it's definitely not how I was thinking like this would be going. But I'm happy to like be able to sort of like take some time to reflect and really look back on 5 years and sort of think about where I want to be and what things I'm doing and everything. And I think being in college now, like, I'm hoping just to like keep going, keep doing what I'm doing, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I mean, last month was my 10 years of YouTube, not BookTube yet, but like first YouTube channel. And I was like, I don't actually feel like celebrating. Not yet.
A little bit today, and then I was like, I want to push through, because I know it's like, I feel like I've always posted, like every year I've posted a video, done something, and so I was like, I don't want to fall through with that yet, although definitely, yeah, it's a weird point to feel like celebrating and things. But
yeah,
how have you been? What have you been up to?
I have been just like reading 5 times more than I ever did before.
That's good.
Did you read Hank Green's book?
I read the first one. I need to get the second one.
Okay, I just got the second one. I have it here. It's so good. Look how far I already am.
Yay! It's great.
It's that good. It's like one of the best sequels I've ever read.
That's awesome. Okay, I definitely need to pick it up now, because I know he's coming out with it, and I've just sort of been waiting for it. And now that it's finally out, I definitely need to get my hands on that. I know I'm going to be moving into my dorm soon, and so I'm like trying to limit the amount of books I'm buying so I don't have to bring a whole bunch with me when I move.
Yeah, well, audiobook is the way to go.
Yeah, I may do that then.
Wait, you're going back to your dorm soon?
Yeah, so I was hired in the beginning of March to be a resident assistant at my dorm. I had applications, or I applied and had my whole interview towards the end of February, and then it took a few weeks for them to pick everyone that they wanted to be on their staff. And so I found out like in the beginning of March, and about a week after, everybody got sent home. And so we were sort of in this weird limbo period of how is all of this going to work? Are we actually going to be able to move back and everything? And so we finally just got an email this week with our final room assignments and everything. So I'm going to give my own room, which will be nice. Because of everything that's been going on. My college specifically requested for all of the RAs to have their own rooms. So that's something. And then I have to train for the entire month of August, and then I'll have to help people move in, and I'll be working throughout all of the fall semester and be starting all of my classes, most of them online. So it'll be a weird time, but if anything, I think it may actually make starting my job a little bit easier because I'll be able to have more focus on that. And hopefully classes will be a little bit more chill if they're going to be entirely online, because I don't know how much they're going to be able to do with us. It'll be interesting to see how all of that works. But
that's such a good job for you. Like you'll be a great RA.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice. I don't know how the floors are going to be laid out, but I know the other RA that I'm with goes to a different school because the way our dorm is put together, there's students from Columbia, DePaul, Roosevelt.
Okay. Well, then I know which dorm you're at.
I mean, like, it's nice because it's close to the building where I had most of my classes in the fall. So to be like right there, and then like where the meal plan, everything is. And I particularly liked all the RAs that I met while I was staying on campus in the fall. So I figured I would apply there. It worked out well for me. So I'm excited to get to be working there.
My friend Matt, who is a booktuber and was an RA at Columbia, just graduated, and he loved it a lot. I'm actually surprised you don't know him. Matt Grant. But anyway, how has your summer been?
Not bad. I've just been chilling out. I've been doing lots of writing. I know we were talking about that.
Me too.
And that's been nice. I'm at like about almost 88K words, which is crazy.
Wow. That is crazy.
So I'm happy with how that's been coming. That's why I've been spending a lot of my time, and that's been fun to get to kick back and do that. And just like consuming content, doing different things, keeping myself busy. I've been trying to catch up with friends a little bit more now that I know that I'm going to be going back early. And a lot of my friends, either they're not going back to campus and they're just either commuting or they're just doing all of their classes online at home. Like, it's a really weird period for a lot of us. So I've been trying to see them like hang out, do the whole social distance thing, and make sure we're all staying safe.
Yeah.
And that's been nice. So doing what I can.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go in like 2 minutes, but I want to hear your thoughts. Maybe you already talked about this, but on Hamilton.
Yes, let's do it.
Please tell me.
I've been having lots of back and forth with my friends. There's people I know who really enjoyed it, and then there's two of my friends who like aren't the biggest Hamilton fans in the world, who were, I don't know how I liked it. One of my friends particularly liked the Chicago cast better than the original Broadway cast, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, gee.
I was like, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen any shows shot like that before. It was amazing how close up to get. I mean, the cast is just so freaking talented. Chris Jackson doing One Last Time got me. That was unreal. It's so good. And I went back and listened to the 44 remix that Lynn put up, and that made me cry. I was like, this is like, I was just taking it all in. That 4th of July weekend. It was really, really good. I got to watch it with my grandparents. My grandma was particularly excited about it, and she signed up for Disney Plus specifically to watch Hamilton. And so she was like, can you help me set it up on my TV? And so I helped her do that. And then I went and watched it with her at her request. And it was nice to get to share that with her. And I enjoyed it. It was a good time. What about you?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I watched it with some family on 4th of July, and I mean, Helpless and Satisfied have always been kind of like my favorite. And so I was just like chills all over during Satisfied, like watching that full performance from Renee, Elisa Lansbury. And when we saw it together in Chicago, so the ending, this is kind of a spoiler of the ending. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, at the end, our Eliza, at the end of the show, like last moment, she does this.
Then
I didn't realize that Philippa Sue did it totally differently. She was like,
I love that because it's so interesting to see how each Eliza takes that little moment at the end and makes it and getting to hear people's interpretations of what they think. What is your thoughts on that? Like, are you looking at that and you're like, there's so many people who are like, oh, it's her seeing the audience and seeing the legacy that she's left. It's her dying breath. It's her seeing Hamilton, like all of these different things. And I find that really interesting.
Yeah, I like that theory. I don't know. I watched a theory where it was like Hamilton becomes Lynn, like Lynn becomes himself at the end there, and he's like showing Eliza, like, look, I told your story.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not that. Like, that's not what I want. But also, it's cool if it is. For me, it's really just like a highly emotional moment, like end of her story, like looking back.
Yeah.
But in Philippa Sue, I feel like there's undoubtedly something there where she sees something. It's
Yeah.
like a new realization at that last moment. So breaking the fourth wall makes sense there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I really do have to go for 7. So I just wanted to pop in
Yeah.
here. I wish I could stay and talk
See
more.
you. And thank you for
It's so good to see you.
being out for a few minutes.
Of course. Congratulations. I hope you have an amazing live show. And yay, 5 years. I will join any live show you do ever. So
thank you. I'm so much
Yeah.
like you're such an inspiration, and I'm so grateful to have you as a friend and support in this community. And I'm so excited to see the amazing things that you do. So
thank
you for joining.
you too.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
To read. Okay. I don't know if I want to do this. So I guess maybe I should tell you a little bit about the story that I'm working on before I start reading it. So I started writing this after I graduated high school in the summer of 2019, and I was going through lots of things. I think a large part of it was the fact that I was going to be moving onto a college campus. I was going to be away from my high school, and I knew the college I was going to was very different than my high school in terms of like the ways that things are taught and approached, what the environment is like, the people that I would be surrounded by. Instead of being in the suburbs, I'm in a big city. So like lots of transitions and changes. I was also leaving a lot of my friends behind. I pretty much had like a whole friend group of people that by the end of the summer had pretty much skipped out on me. And, you know, there was just a really unfortunate and awkward falling out. And so I was going through lots of these things, and I didn't really know the best way to articulate it. And so I started writing. I would have never really considered myself a writer. I've always considered myself more of a reader. I always would write things and then I would get bored with them, or I would write myself into a rut and I would just be like, this isn't good anymore. And I would be unhappy with it and just chuck it away. But this is the first thing I've ever wrote that I've actually felt proud of. from the infernal devices. And she is a journalist, and she has not the best working relationship with her boss. She ends up getting fired after like several months of working there, and she's passionate about what she does. She's a good student, but she has a disagreement with her boss, and so she leaves and goes back home and really has to sort of confront her past and figure out what it is that she wants for herself. And that's sort of what this whole story is a bit of like a new adult coming of age story, deciding who you are, what you want to be, what you want for yourself. And so she goes back to one of her mentors, her teachers, who was a real inspiration to her, someone who helped her through a period of time, and sort of wants to talk to him about what it is that she's went through, particularly the fallout that happens with her boss. It is directly tied into sort of the relationship, the mentor type relationship she has with her teacher. And so that drives her back home to visit him. And in the process, she meets his nephew, and we get into some rom-com type story, and lots of different things happen. So there's focus on education, there's a focus on like found family, and not like, you know, the need, like not the need for your blood family, like being able to find your own family, your own people who support you in your community. And yeah, so I'm gonna start reading this 4th chapter, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, chapter 4. With the sun streaming in through the window, Tessa Elizabeth wakes up the next morning, refreshed and feeling good as ever. She pads downstairs to see that Mr. Christopher has left for the day, leaving her to her own devices. She could leave now and head back to her apartment, but she should probably say goodbye. Her first priority is to head out to her car and grab the duffel bag she keeps with her at all times in case she's sent out an assignment, and bring it back into the house. She showers, changes into her spare set of clothes, and brushes her teeth. The routine helps to give her some stability and make her feel productive. From there, she does some basic tidying up around the house. Dishes, vacuuming, dusting, anything to help out and make herself useful. The time passes in a blur. Before she knows it, Mr. Christopher is unlocking the door to his home after a long and tiring day of work. "You're still here," he says matter-of-factly. "I thought it would be disrespectful to leave before saying goodbye and thanking you for letting me stay." "Did you vacuum?" he asked, changing the subject. "I wanted to be helpful while I was here. You keep the place pretty tidy, so there wasn't that much to do. You never fail to surprise me. On that note, I'm glad you're still here. I have an errand to run, and I would like you to come with me." "Okay, where are we going exactly?" "You'll see. Get in your car. I'll lead and you'll follow." "That I can do." Their drive takes them through several patches of cornfields and long open roads until they reach a small tavern on the edge of town. Several cars are parked in the lot, but the space feels eerily empty. Tessa parks her car next to Mr. Christopher's and opens her driver's side door. "Why did you take me here?" "Patience, young grasshopper." "Okay, you're being weird." Mr. Christopher smiles in response. He seems to have some grand plan in mind. One can only wonder what his next great lesson is for his favorite student. Tessa follows Mr. Christopher inside the front doors to be welcomed into a quaint bar and restaurant environment. A shiny wooden bar top and stools take up most of the space inside. Several televisions nearly line the ceiling, each tuned to a different station. Tables and chairs line the outside of the restaurant, and a few booths also take up the space. The entire space is lighted with antique signs of different liquor companies, string lights, and a few main dangling lighting sources. The space reminds her of her basement back home. It's friendly and inviting. "Welcome to the Archer," Mr. Christopher tells her. "You own this place?" she asks quizzically. "I'm not much of a cook, so no. My sister does." After only having been inside a few moments, a dark-haired boy with blue-gray eyes and stubble going around his pink lips comes to greet Mr. Christopher. He looks a little taller than 5'10". He's of average build, not too thin or muscular. His skin is slightly paler than hers, which is saying something. The boy hugs Mr. Christopher with a huge grin on his face, and Mr. Christopher returns a gesture. "Who's this, Sean? I haven't seen you bring any suitors here in years." He smirks at her. His look brutal depending on the context. I am a smart, accomplished, and determined woman. I'll bet you are, Josh says, laughing to himself. Okay, you sit here, Josh says, pointing to a seat at the end of the bar. Would you like to drink? You're serving me now? This is a especially now when work hours are over. Excuse me, I need to take this. So I'll end it there. Kind of it on my end, starting to work on packing up all my things, move into my dorm room. So that's been taking up some time. Goodness. I've also been doing some photo shoots recently, which has been fun. I got to take some photos for my mom's work to put on her website, and that was kind of cool to get to do that. I was also did a little photo shoot myself for some of the videos that I've been filming. I got this lemon printed romper that I absolutely love. And so I took some photos in it. This was the one that I used for the thumbnail. And there's that picture as well. There's that one. I keep wanting to move the wrong way. And it's been fun to get to do that and take some photos. I also did a whole bunch of different looks for each of the outfits I've been wearing for my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. videos. So there's that look. Why do I keep doing that? Oh my goodness. Which was meant to be for the 1930s. This was the 1950s look, which was a Captain Marvel outfit. I love this romper so much. I got it last year from Hot Topic. I believe it was part of the Her Universe collection. And it has all of these like pins and patches and different things on it that are just, it's really fun to wear. And I love this camo color. I can't tell you why I'm so obsessed with it, but I really like it. And I love the fact that there's like a zipper and there's a tie and just, it's so cute. I have a lot of fun with that look. And then I did a 4th of July look for the 1970s episode because part of it was set in the 4th of July, and that was a lot of fun. Then they just did a 1980s episode, and I was going to try to film my review today, and I just couldn't get through it. It just wasn't happening for me. And so because I would love to know what type of stuff you want to see from me. I think that's one of the reasons why I struggle so much with this channel sometimes. Hello.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. What's been going on with you?
Nothing much. I've just sort of been doing some writing, reading a little bit, watching lots of different stuff and doing lots of binge watching.
Yeah, I feel that.
And
I just saw Community the other day.
Ooh, it's a good show.
Yeah.
God, I've also just been sort of like getting lots of emails from my college about like how the next semester is going to work and having to prepare and do all of that. Because have you heard anything about what your school is doing and what it's like for you?
Yeah, it's very chaotic. Basically, my school right now, they said they're doing partially online and partially in person. So like you can choose to stay fully online if you want. But like then it's like I don't even know. Like a lot of the classes are online, which is fine. But also like I want to go back, so it doesn't really matter to me if they're online or not.
Right.
And then it's just every email they're just like, hey, and we're working through it. There's a pandemic.
Right. I feel like that's kind of the thing that a lot of colleges are dealing with.
Yeah.
Do you live on campus? Is that something that you do, or department? If so, what is that looking like for you? Because I know our campus specifically said everybody needs to have their own room. So like For
yeah,
example,
I think they said that you don't have to have your own room, but like you're gonna have to like do testing every week and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not really certain on how it's gonna go. I think they're redoing the whole living situation, so we're not all living as close to each other.
right.
Yeah, but like next year, this year, I guess, we're supposed to get like apartments and stuff, so that'll be easier
Nice.
for us because we won't have like communal bathrooms and stuff like that. So I don't know how that's gonna work out for people.
Yeah, I know for us, like people having to sign up for housing was a nightmare. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that because I already had my housing secured since I'm working for my housing. But I know they're like trying to put like one person per bedroom. So maybe you're sharing a bathroom with another person who's like in the suite connected to yours, or you're in your own room if it's a single, or if you're in an apartment, everyone in the apartment has their own bedroom. And so I don't know if like the housing costs are going up or like the struggle that everyone's dealing with that, but I've heard that that's been an issue. And then classes there's some that are in person, there's some that are entirely online, there's some that are like hybrid, which are like half in person, half online, and whatever that means, whether it be like half the class online, half the class in person, or it's like a certain amount of weeks that are online and then a certain amount of weeks that are in person. It's kind of weird. So that's been a whole thing that's been sort of keeping me busy, trying to pay attention to all of that and figuring out how the semester is going to work. I'm particularly worried about it because I feel like I'm going to have all of these kids that I'm going to have to entertain as a resident assistant with different activities and programs, and I don't know what capacity I'm going to be able to do that in. Social distancing, and I'm just worried how parents are going to react for like sending new freshmen onto campus and not being able to like wanting to do stuff with them, but also being limited by
what it's like. Oh, but don't get too many people together, and then
and how they're going to do like floor meetings. Like there's all of these things that I've been sort of thinking about and having to deal with this like whole change and everything that's been going on. So it's weird.
It's kind of crazy because also like with them going like partially online and stuff like that, like I don't even know where I was going with that thought.
I feel like that's my entire day as I'm just like
they just like, but also like most colleges are keeping it like the same price, and I'm like, it's not.
I think
like I feel like a lot of like the price of college is like student activities fees and stuff like that. Like online, but like there's so many that aren't.
Right. Yeah, and then if you're to like basically commuting to it's insane. Like there's a lot of people that are really upset about it. I mean, as they should be. I think our college dropped their tuition down back to where it was before the pandemic. So like what I was paying in the fall, and I was like, okay, I don't know how much of a decrease that is because there's still a lot of resources and opportunities and things that I'm not getting access to. But
because like also I think a part of it is like if you're going to use the library, or if you're going to use like the different like you can rent out projectors and rent out cameras and like stuff like that, where it's like I feel like that's a portion of the funds, and then you're not getting to use that.
Because what's your major, Bridget? Are you
creative writing and film and media management?
Yeah, so film I have to imagine because I know one of the classes I had to take in the fall as a broadcast journalism major was a television production class, and I was thinking like there's no way in hell I would have wanted to do that class in this capacity because all of that relies on being able to be in the studio, use the cameras, use the switcher, and all of these different things. And I just can't imagine because I have a lot of friends that because I took that class that are in the television department, and I just I would not want to be them having to do those types of classes online because I have to imagine it's really difficult because you're not able to get access to the equipment and resources that you need.
Yeah, we have a class that I'm planning on taking in the fall, and it's digital video, and I was really excited because like I wanted to take it last year, but it didn't fit in my schedule. Like past few times, it like because it's only offered in the spring, it's only offered in the fall, and it was at the same time as a different one of my classes. So I was like, oh, finally I get to take it because like finally there's another opening, and now it's all online, and I'm just like, I feel like because a lot of it like you had to go like in the original version of the class you had to go to like these seminars where you learned how to use different equipment and stuff, and then like you'd be making projects with people all throughout the semester. And I emailed the teacher. I was like, hey, I still want to take the class because like I need to take it if I want to be able to take the advanced level classes going on from that, because there's some other classes that I'm interested in, but that one's like the gateway one to them. And he was like, yeah, it's all going to be taught online because you can just like learn stuff online with it. You're going to be just shooting your project with your smartphone because that's all you need. And like I have a nice camera, so like that's not really my issue.
Right.
I wanted the kind of like, because there's like a community aspect of shooting a film with people and like getting together and doing that. And like getting to know other people. So like that's a bummer.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, because I know like doing my television productions, like you need the entire group of people that you're working with because everyone plays a part and really build community in that way. So it's horrible to be missing out on that. I mean, I feel especially so bad for like people that are like about a year younger than I am, all of the seniors that weren't able to have their graduation and are now having to go into their first year of college entirely online. They've had so much taken away from them. And I mean, like, I'm glad that I was able to at least get a semester of college. It was nice. And
I was talking with my friends and we were like, you know, the one, like, any time before like maybe senior year of high school, it would have been fine. I would have been fine having coronavirus. Like, my life wouldn't have changed that much. But like in college, it's so different, and it's just like gotten that taken away. Great.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have gotten particularly through my junior year of high school with coronavirus, because that was a like stressful year for me. But college, I mean, I think I'm managing a little bit okay. I think personally because my high school experience in my mind was way more stressful than college.
Well, I just mean in the sense of like, I don't mean in like the work sense. Like I'm fine doing the work online, but the community aspect of college is like getting to know different people, and like that's like the whole purpose is that like you meet new people and like you hang out with your friends all the time and stuff like that. And like just the whole community building. That's what really makes college like my point of view. So like losing out on that is just like losing out on like the whole like. There's the college, like the hard part where you're like doing work and everything. And then there's the fun part where you're meeting people and you're like having fun and you're like going to a party and stuff like that. And like you get to do all the work without all the fun stuff. And I'm just not a good time.
A bummer. I mean, it's definitely, I'm thinking about like all the fun stuff I got to do that I'm probably going to be missing out on. And it kind of sucks, but
so it's a little rough.
It's weird. What else have you been keeping up to in your sort of, I know you've been in Mali, I've been doing lots of stuff. You have different things going on. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Well, we're doing the Bard Book Club every month where we have our read through, and our read through for this month is A Midsummer Night's Dream. And every month we've been also reading through a script on Molly's channel. This month, which is tomorrow for us, we're reading through Heathers, which is very exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited to do that. I'm playing, oh my god, now all of the names are gone. No, it's not going to come to me. Veronica, there it is. Got it. Yes, I'm very excited. We're going to be wearing blazers and everything.
Yay, that's fun. I know you got Julia from the Reader's World, who I know is a big Heathers fan, and I was excited that she was going to be involved in that. This should be a fun time.
Yeah, good. And then Booktubeathon is happening like 2 weeks from now. Reading Rush.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. I've also just like, I've been reading a lot, not like this past week, but like before that, I just like read a lot because I've read 78 books this year now. That's
that's insane. I've been reading less and less. Like my motivation has just gone down, mainly because I've been writing more and I've been watching more stuff and I've been trying to do more, like my priorities have just been elsewhere. I think a large part of it was also because I finally read the Percy Jackson series. It took me years, but I finally
reading it right now.
Reading it. And I started reading The Heroes of Olympus, which is the sequel series, right? And I was able to I was reading all of those through Overdrive, and I was able to get pretty much the entire Percy Jackson series without having to wait. I was able to just borrow all of those at once. But I've been having to wait for like a month to get my hands on the second book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and so
the Son of Neptune.
Reading anything, yeah, because I'm still having to wait for the loan to come in.
Yeah.
I was like very disappointed about, because I finished reading the first book and I was like, I need the second book, and I've been waiting for almost like a month to get my hands.
Like the first book in the Heroes of Olympus, you like at least for me, the whole time I was just like, where is Percy?
Right,
and then more Percy, and he was not here.
And then you get that ending, and you're like, oh my god! Like, I was like, I need the second book, and I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's infuriating.
Yeah, Molly and Austin and some other people, we've all been rereading Percy Jackson. We've all kind of fallen behind on our schedule that we set for ourselves, but it's a fun time. We're just starting The Titan's Curse, and we're very excited.
Fun.
Yeah. It's a good time because, like, I feel like I reread the first book last summer to do my video series, but since then, or like since before then, like I haven't reread the whole series in like a while, so it's a good time.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed them. I feel like I definitely maybe would have enjoyed them more if I read them when I was younger, but I can see why everyone really, really loves that series, and I'm really excited for Rick Riordan to have that Disney Plus series, because I know that's going to be
a
big thing, especially now that Harry Potter is on the outs. I feel like Percy Jackson is easily going to be huge. I feel like Disney Plus, if they do a good job taking advantage of it and marketing it, which they probably will.
We can hope. Yeah.
Fingers crossed it'll be good. Because it deserves to have a good adaptation.
I mean, like third time's the charm, right? We got. I mean, like the second one was good. So like, I mean, like not the second movie, but the musical.
That's so cool that he has a musical of.
Oh, it's so good.
Books. I need to I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to it now. I was planning on doing that recently after reading.
It's so good. Like it's so accurate and it's just beautiful.
Yay! I'm gonna go back for sure.
Yeah, I know they're going on tour. I mean, like they were supposed to go on tour, like at the end of the year. But obviously, it's chaotic now. But if they go on tour, you should definitely see if you can see them because it's really cool.
Because I think it started out in Chicago and it was here originally, and then I hadn't read the books at that point, so I was like, I don't know. But I would definitely plan on seeing it now, especially since I'm in the city if it comes, because theater's going to need our support more than ever. So,
yeah, it's really good. I've seen it 3 times.
Yay! That's good.
Yeah, because I got to interview the cast last summer, which was really cool. I got to interview 2 members of the cast.
That
was really fun, and I highly recommend. It was really funny because I asked them. I was like, "So, how would you say this how would you say this compares to how terrible the movie was?" And he's just like, "Oh, the movies were terrible. Like if we're just gonna say, I know we're like they're a complete unfaithful abomination." Then I was like, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I find it so funny, and especially seeing all the tweets that Rick Riordan put out recently because they put the first movie on Disney Plus and how he was like, I refuse.
Yeah, they should have 2 hours of blank screen.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh. I was like, not even Cassie Clare would say that about Shadowhunters, although she should. But I was like, good for him.
I love that he's just like all now. He's just
I did watch it though because I needed to know why everyone thought it was so terrible. Because not knowing would bother me. So I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie because it's on Disney Plus. It's right there, and it was a nightmare of epic proportions. It was terrible.
It's like they saw like the basic premise. It's like they read the spark notes of it and they were like, we got the idea.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Insurgent in a way. Like, because Insurgent felt like it took pieces of the book, ripped it up into little pieces, and then like, let's try to put it back together, and what you get is like a disaster. You know?
It's also like they had an hour to write a full movie script, and then they panicked and wrote this.
Yeah, it was.
Have you read Rick Riordan's emails?
No,
definitely look them up.
If a Reader's World do a dramatic reading of that, I can watch that.
They're really funny. I read them to my mom, and she thought that they were joking, but he really just tears into the movies. He's like, no one will like this. This is terrible. Like, he also offers to read to rewrite some of it and like everything just to add like more dialogue and stuff. He's like, I wouldn't have to like change a lot, but like I could fix up some of the dialogue because that's a lot of what people really enjoyed from the series. And they were just like, nah, we're going to leave it like this. Like, he offered all of his help and services to make it better. And they were like, no,
that's garbage. That's absolutely horrible. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, I'm glad to see that things are on the up for him now. And he seems to be very happy about that new adaptation.
Me too.
Would you say that the second film is worse than the first, or is it on
Yes.
It's worse?
Well, because the second film was them trying to repair things they didn't get right in the first one, but then also, like, because in the first one they don't even address the Kronos plotline, so then they have to introduce that whole plotline in the second film. And then they change things, like they make Annabeth blonde, and it's like, look, we made her blonde. That's what you wanted, right? So like now it's good. But like, no, you need to like actually follow the plot of the book. And then like they add in Dionysus with no warning. They got like Pierce Brosnan. He was as Chiron in the first one. New guy in the second one. He was not going to be attached to another movie.
Oh wow! I didn't even realize it was casted because I just watched.
Yeah, they introduced Clarice, and it's like this weird rock climbing like scene where it's bad, and then like towards the end, like Kronos rises up and then like someone stabs him. I don't remember a lot of it. I'm gonna rewatch it now because I'm doing a comparison like I did last year with the first movie. I'm gonna do one for the second movie. I'm not excited, but I'm gonna put myself through it again. And I've been talking with Molly about it, and she was like, yeah, and then they did this. And I'm like, I feel like I blocked it from my brain. It was that bad.
It makes me mad that there was a second movie for...
Well, I feel like enough people probably bought tickets to the first one because they were excited about the franchise.
Right.
They liked the books.
That it made them enough money to be like, let's do a second. Because City of Bones, the City of Bones movie, like, it was... not good, but it was like
it was better than Percy Jackson.
Yes, I know, and they didn't give them a second movie, and then we got the TV show, which was worse.
Yeah, it's not really going well there.
Yeah, and then apparently it got. I don't want the Infernal Devices to be adapted. There's nothing I've ever.
Oh, yeah, I saw that
more ever. So because that's the thing that made me
hard to like.
I was
that without the setup of like the other like. I mean, you can because you can read them on its own, but like. When I read them, I was reading them as they came out. Right. So like, I already had the context of like knowing like the descendants, and then it was like, and then they're connected here and all that.
And that makes the most sense. And I just feel like it could be so and so I was like, I got that news, and then there was the news about the Percy Jackson Disney Plus show, and I was like,
Yeah, I feel like at least with the Percy Jackson Disney Plus show, like Rick Riordan is writing a script outline for it. Like he's writing plot details and stuff. Like, so I have faith.
It's going to go well. I have no faith that if the Infernal Devices ever gets adapted, that it will be good. I will be tempted to watch it, and it will be weird because I made my way through every episode of Shadowhunters, and I don't think I can do it again.
I gave up on that. Like I watched that. I want to say one episode, maybe two, and I was like,
"This is terrible." Yeah.
Well, because like, as soon as they brought like technology into it, and they had this whole base with like all of these random people, I was like, that is not the book.
Yeah, I was pretty much like hate watching it. I was just like,
I thought about doing that, and I was just like, I don't hate myself that much that I'm not gonna do it.
I did. It was I mean, I got to the point where I was no longer like actively watching it as it was airing because I was like, I can't even do this to myself like anymore, and. It was a roller coaster of just hope and thinking that it'll get better, and it continually getting worse and worse and worse. It was an abomination. So let's hope that we get better adaptations in the future.
Yeah, we can hope. It's just difficult, I think, because people are trying to like replicate the success of Harry Potter and like the Hunger Games and stuff. And if you're trying to do it, I don't think you can. Like you have to just have a new idea and like put it out there, and like that's how it's gonna happen, you know?
You can't try to replicate anything. Which, speaking of the Hunger Games, did you read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes?
I did. I have I read it like the first 2 days it came out, And I filmed a review. It's like 50 minutes long, so I've still been cutting it down.
Yeah, it is going up. Yeah, it was a weird book. I think a lot of people had expectations for what that story was going to be, and it absolutely was not what anybody expected.
Yeah, I feel like what I've said about it is if you're not a big fan of history and like the history of the Hunger Games, don't read it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not like invested in hearing like how those like small things came to be, then it's pointless because there's like
nothing. Yeah.
The timeline is all over the place, like because the plot like it's like slow. It's so slow at certain paces, and then it gets really fast. And like the Hunger Games in it were boring.
Yeah, that was like the worst part for me, which I found so funny because that's because
like that was the part where I was like, okay, we're gonna hype it up a bit, and then they're like, and now we're staring at a screen for 5 hours on end, and nothing's happening.
So betting on the theories of getting to see the District 12 girls' perspective.
Oh yeah,
like I was thinking that
I didn't think so.
It would be like I don't know if it would be I mean like I wasn't sure how that was going to work, if it was going to be written in like a third person where you would see her thoughts. I
didn't think we were going to get her perspective. I was like, there's no chance.
Yeah.
But
I was for it because I was just thinking, how is this going to work if they're just staring at a screen the entire time? And what happened is it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, at certain parts I enjoyed like being able to see what goes on like behind the scenes and everything. And I liked the small tidbits. Like I liked the hanging tree thing.
Yeah.
But there were so many other things where I was like, I felt like she was just throwing in names at some points.
Yeah.
And I just was not here for it.
Yeah. It was definitely like, I think it was interesting to get all of that history, but it wasn't like, if you're a fan of the characters and the specific plot of the original trilogy, I don't think the prequel is really
no.
It's
I just think if you're in there for the history of the world, that's where you go.
Yeah,
because I thought it was interesting to see like, oh, and then they're gonna like have new arenas, and then they're gonna like send in food and water and stuff like that. Like I thought that stuff was cool to be like, oh, and this is how it's gonna transform. But if you're not invested in that because you're like, oh, well, obviously it's going to change, then don't.
Yeah. I'm so curious how the movie adaptation is going to go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Francis Lawrence obviously gave us Catching Fire, which was a masterpiece. And I don't think the Mockingjay films were good too. There's like dialogue from the Mockingjay films.
Oh, yeah. No, that like 2 months ago, I reread the books and I watched all the movies again. And it's like, it's spot on. Like they take dialogue from like a bunch of the dialogue from the books and put it in the movies. Like so accurate. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Because, God, I talked about this in my review, so that'll be coming when it does. I think I have it scheduled to post on Monday, but I saw this on Twitter and I thought it was interesting. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. For the movie adaptation, there was somebody that was saying that it should be rated R, which I was like, that's interesting because I started to think about it a little bit, and like we're talking specifically about the hanging tree, and I remembered that like they changed one of the lines in that song in the movie to a necklace of hope rather than a necklace of rope, and I was thinking that was probably because of the PG-13 thing, and I figured like that I don't know how they would. Like, I figured they could make a PG-13 movie, but I'm, like, wondering, would a rated R film give them more room to work with? Or, like, an NC-17, something like that? Like, what?
No, I don't think they need to be rated R for that. Like, there's nothing, like, super explicit in the book. Like, not anything more explicit than the Hunger Games and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why. I saw that, and for some reason I was like, because that was something that I read before the book even came out. I guess somebody had a copy of it early and then was like, had put that out there, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I started thinking about it a little bit and thinking about the way that the hanging tree was used in Mockingjay. And then I'm just thinking, yeah, like the whole movie.
I don't think that line is going to like specifically cause them to have like an R rating.
Yeah.
I feel like they'd have to have something like more explicit. Like, I don't know, when I think of R-rated movies, I think of like Deadpool and then like other stuff where it's like super out there. And like with this, you could do it easily. Like, I know there's like violence in it, but there's violence in a lot of movies, so I feel like it wouldn't be different.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see what they do, because again, it feels like a really weird story to adapt and do because it feels very slow and it doesn't feel very action driven. And I feel like
it'll be interesting because like obviously you have to cut a bunch of stuff, so it'll be interesting to see how they do the pacing in the movie. I feel like they could do it a bit better, because if they're given like you can't adapt all of the pages, and like this was a longer book, so like hopefully don't split into 2 movies. My God, no. But like if you have to do it in one movie and you have like 2.5 hours, maybe less, like that seems like a reasonable time. You got to cut out some stuff, and I feel like that would help the pacing along. So I feel like the movie could be better than the book. Pacing wise, because I feel like a lot of the stuff in the book, like it was so slow, and it's like, oh yes, and then we sat there for many more hours watching the screen, and then we talked. And like it took like half of the book to get to the Hunger Games
themselves
and stuff. Like, because like that was what I was here for.
I actually think I liked the third part the best out of all 3 parts in the book.
It was interesting,
like part of basically the part towards the end. That's when the most pieces started to come together. And so I'm just I'm curious how they're going to put that whole story together when the games don't even feel like the main piece. How do they even draw people into that movie too, besides people who are just regular Hunger Games fans? Because you need to have seen the original trilogy, I feel like, or have an understanding of it.
I mean, it could stand on its own, but like you wouldn't get as much from it. I mean, I feel like, have you watched Caleb's video about it?
No, but he said it was
good. I just
saw the title and he was like, it was bad, and I'm like, ooh, okay.
Well, I watched because I really love his videos, so I was watching it, and he made some good points where he was like, she takes pains to like point out the things that are like super symbolic from the original series and be like, oh look, there it is again, which I like when they talk about the Mockingjays and it's like, oh look, there they are, and then he's like, we should just kill them all. Like that whole thing where it's like, well, they were a symbol in the original one, but like now you're kind of like really pushing it out there. Like this was like like I think it's good that it's attached to him, and I think it's cool to see, like, because I was reading and I was like, oh well, it would be interesting to see like a short piece of like the original Hunger Games from his point of view based on this. But I feel like it also takes away some of the subtleness of the original series when you put in all of this where it's like, oh, and it's specifically him targeting her because she reminds him of this other person and all of that.
It's definitely. I think like there was a lot of anticipation that went into it when it first came out, and then
it's a lot of mixed reviews.
There's been like all these mixed reviews, and it was just, I think, not what people were expecting. And I think like it also felt like this really weird period for nostalgia because the Twilight novel was also announced, and it just felt like it was
like 2012 again or something like that.
I think like I wasn't sure, like, because I'm curious how, if we're like living in an alternate world where the story was coming out and there was like release parties and everything, and there was able to be maybe more of that anticipation surrounding it, like how that would have worked out. It was definitely weird, but I think like Francis Lawrence could do a good job with the movie, and I think it'll be interesting to see who they cast and how they put all of that together, because he's done a notoriously good job with the films, and so I have faith in him to not mess up.
I have faith in him to like make it good. It'll be interesting to see what he does with the pacing, considering that was like my main issue with it was it was just all over the place.
Absolutely. Goodness. Did you watch, I don't know if you were watching Love, Victor at all? That was
I watched that, yes. It was so cute.
I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I wasn't sure if they were setting it up for like obviously by the end, like it seems like, yes, they're setting up for a second season, but like I didn't, going into it, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like just a one and done thing or if they were going to try to do multiple seasons, and it seems like that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
So the second season should be interesting if they get it. I don't think they've announced it yet if there is going to be one. But
Yeah, I don't know. But I thought the first season was good. Like, I enjoyed a lot of the characters. I thought they had a lot of depth, which was good. Like, Felix was my favorite character.
Yeah, he's fun. I love him.
But then I liked how we got to see, I've watched it, it was a hot second ago. Andrew? Is that the basketball guy?
Yeah.
I liked his story as well because I liked how he was originally kind of like this mean kid and everything. And then we kind of got to see him grow from that and be kind of another guy.
And I think there's probably like the way that it's going, it looks like there'll probably be more development for his character in the second season. I feel like they're building him up to be a bigger character.
Yeah, because I think that he needed that like push at the start.
Yeah. The ending really got me. Like I was like,
oh yeah, I got to the ending and I was like, excuse me. Like I understand the benefits of ending on that.
Yeah.
Like him telling his family, but I was like, I'm gonna need some more from that. I finished it. I was just like, I need another episode.
Yeah. Because I was surprised by how, because I like binged through it relatively quickly. And so I was, it's like once it was finished, I was like, oh my gosh, I was surprised that that it ended so quickly and they got so much into it. But yeah, it was fun. I loved the use of Call Me Maybe in.
Oh yeah, I thought that was really cute.
That was cute.
I thought the way that they built up that romance was really cute.
Yeah.
And I liked that he was kind of conflicted, but then he was like, yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But also like the anxiety I had during the final episode. I was like, I know where this is going, but I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, it was stressful. God. But yeah, it was a fun time. It was nice to have like a cute little contemporary show to watch, to have like the YA community be all excited about. What else have you been watching and getting into recently?
Community, like I said, and then I've also been watching Avatar. I'm on season 2.
Nice.
Yeah. Have I watched anything else? I started watching this show on Netflix. It's called Spinning Out. It's about these skaters who want to go to the Olympics.
I heard about that show. A lot of people said
it's all right. Yeah. Been watching it with my mom. It's okay.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah. It's just like it's a weird time.
It is.
And it's like weird because I'm like watching all of this new content and I'm just thinking like, great, I have all this stuff now. Because it felt like in the beginning of June, a lot of stuff came out. Like,
so it was like finally we can release some things.
Yeah. And then now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, there's going to be very little stuff to come out in the fall. Obviously.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of things have been put off. Like all of the movies, like a bunch of the movies that were going to theaters, they were like, we're moving it to fall.
Right, and that they have to push them back more because Black Widow's supposed to be still coming out in November, right? Or because I was like, my grandma was like, I was talking to her about it, and she's like, I don't know if they're gonna push it back again. And I was
I could not handle that.
I know, I'd be so upset because I look forward to that movie.
Yeah, like quarantine, you've taken a lot, but please,
yeah,
that's my one hope. If they move that back, then like we won't have gotten a Marvel movie all year.
I know.
Sad. And there's like a bunch of other movies that were coming out.
Right.
I don't even remember them at this point, but
there's the one. I mean, the only 2 movies I was really looking forward to that I'm bummed I didn't get to see were Black Widow and then Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman. I'm very excited about. And then hold on, I followed this Instagram account and they posted this whole thing and I was like, accurate. They were like, which of these movies are you excited to see when they finally come out? And I was like, all of them.
Yes.
Let's see if I can find it. Oh, The French Dispatch. I just watched the Grand Budapest Hotel and it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the new James Bond movie is coming out, which I love James Bond. And then A Quiet Place 2. Oh, I'm ready.
My grandma was talking to me about that because she watched the first one and really liked it, and I need to watch the first one before.
Yeah,
I'm not like a big like thriller person, like stuff like that. I was
See, I'm 100% not a horror person.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, this was so good.
Cool. Then I will take your recommendation. I've been
It
getting
was
lots
just,
of
like, really good because, like, there's not many movies where you're, like, completely silent during it. But
right.
while you're watching that, you're just like that was the most silent I've ever been watching a movie. You don't want to even, like, really breathe during some of the moments. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, the monster's there. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't know how they're going to do the second one. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
Yes. So much good stuff that's been pushed off, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh my God. The Lin-Manuel Miranda's other musical.
Hamilton.
No.
In the Heights.
In the Heights. The In the Heights movie got pushed off until next year, and I was so sad.
I was so upset about that because me and my friend were talking about it because we lived on the same floor, and she was talking about, like, how excited she was for the In the Heights movie, and we were thinking about maybe, like, getting together this summer to see it, and then it got pushed back.
I'm so sad.
But we got Hamilton instead, which was nice.
Yeah.
Like a nice, like, trade-off. It was like, you can't have it, but I'll give you this instead.
But I'm also still so sad. I'm so excited for it. It looks so good.
Yeah. Did you watch Hamilton?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, you had to watch. Did you and Molly did the watch? Well, how was that? Did you, like, what was that experience like?
It was
watching
a fun time. Yeah, I mean, I watched it once with my mom and my dad, and then I watched it again. I watched it twice on the first day. And it was just, like, a good time. We all, like, commented on different stuff. I had seen it with the original cast back in 2016, but it's so different watching it with, like, their up close their faces. It's because, like, usually, you're so far away. So it was really cool to be able to get that experience of seeing them so up close.
Yeah.
And, like, it was beautifully, like, shot and everything. They had so many camera angles. They were not gonna waste it.
It was really well done.
Yeah. And I heard they sold it to Disney for, like, $75 million.
That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah.
Disney rolling with the money. Yeah. That's like Disney. Not surprised.
Yeah.
But it's nice that that'll be there for a while for people to take and enjoy.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth it.
And I think I feel like it shows that, like, you can have something be really popular and then also have a version of it online. Like, people are still not going to stop seeing Hamilton in person just because they uploaded this version online.
Right. Because I know early on in my channel, I made a video, like, talking about theater when I was first getting into it, because there was all these actors I was following that were posting about, like, people filming bootlegs in the theater and all of that. And while I still don't like bootlegs because it's just, like, the principle of it, like, shooting, like, something technically it is illegal, and I'm, like, just not going to be the type of person to ever watch them because of, like,
I mean,
my thoughts on that. I think that definitely, though, there should be, like, more of an emphasis put on doing, like, tape recordings, making it more accessible to people.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm like, all we have are bootlegs because no one's releasing any Broadway musicals.
Right, and, like, theaters completely shut down. So I feel like this is the perfect time to be like, okay, we may not be able to have audiences for a while. Broadway's shut down for the rest of the year. So I think this is a good time to evaluate it. I mean, hopefully you'll be able to see more recordings of shows.
Yeah, because I feel like it's dumb because, like, the whole idea that they say is that they don't want to have the recordings because then people won't come see the shows. But that's like saying, oh, I released an album and I don't want to go to the tour because I can just listen to it at home. Like, why would I go see the person? Like, that.
I mean, some people were like that, but it's a minority of people who are not really going to change.
Yeah, and I feel like
having will make you more money. Like, I think.
Yeah, because, like, that'll allow people who, like, don't usually like musicals be like, hey, maybe I'll check this out one night. And then they watch it and they're like, wow, this was really good. And then maybe they'll go see it in person.
Yeah, or you have people who are just not from New York. They're in completely different cities, New York centers, that haven't been able to tour yet, to give them an opportunity and be able to cement shows that don't normally get of, like, recording.
Yeah. And especially with, like, just like with having shows, I feel like even if they had them for rental, they could make so much more money if you were like, buy this or like rent this for like $4. That opens up a whole new like number of people who can go who can watch the show from their house, and that opens up like a whole new avenue of like money for them to get to. So I feel like from a money making standpoint, it's a bad choice to not have like recordings that you can watch.
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like that's something that like I've definitely changed
my
mind on. I mean, I've always sort of thought it, but I've understood like maybe reasons why, and now I'm seeing it as like more of a necessity.
Yeah, I mean, also like what we were saying, like with the bootlegs, like that's illegal and everything. But if they had nice recordings of them online for you to watch, just to rent them, bootlegs would not exist. Like people wouldn't be like, oh, can you go record this with these people? Because they would be like, oh, well, I can just go rent it. Like, I'm not going to watch it illegally online. I'm going to watch there's always going to be those people who watch it illegally. But, like, if there's a nice version, people will be more likely to go watch that.
Right, absolutely.
So it's kind of dumb, in my opinion, that, like, they don't. And it's just, I feel like it's just the idea that, like, they want to keep Broadway for the elite people who can go see it, who are in New York and everything.
Yeah.
Which is dumb because it's, like, theater should be for everyone. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm
very passionate about it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you should be, because I was thinking about making a video about that, like talking about my experience watching Hamilton and sort of doing a little bit of an update to that video that I posted originally.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, because that's something that I've been like thinking about a little bit more because
it's a popular topic.
Yeah, and especially like now with the way the theater world and theater community is looking, like it's a conversation worth having. So who knows when that will be coming to my channel if it does.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So my computer battery is looking like it may start to die out soon.
Yeah.
And my internet signal was starting to get a little bit shaky. I was outside to do this just because it was nice out and kind of just wanted to get some fresh air, and so farther away from my router, which is at like complete other end of the house. So I may
this is a very fun time. Thank you for having me.
A few minutes. But it was nice to get to chat with you, Bridget.
Yeah. I'll talk with you later.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
So I'm going to pretty much wrap it up here in a few minutes. I hit my hand against this railing here. Love that for me. So I've been doing this for 5 years now, and it's been a roller coaster. I've made some friends. I've had some cool experiences, and it's been like a crazy 5 years. So I kind of want to end taking a little bit of a walk down memory lane. I started my channel in July 2015 after coming home for a trip from California and just wanting to have a platform myself, a way to talk about the things that I'm passionate about. And from there, I started to sort of mold my channel into a booktube channel. I started to talk about books. I got to go to my first ever author event, which was BookCon 2016 in Chicago at McCormick Place. I got to meet so many amazing creators there. And from there, I just kept going to a whole bunch of different book events. I got into theater. I read Harry Potter for the first time, which obviously like now that's a bit of a thing, but it was a landmark at the time. And I got to see Hamilton for the first time on my 16th birthday. And I got to meet Veronica Roth, who was an author that absolutely inspired me. I got to see John Green on tour, who was another author that I really loved that like got me into YA literature. I got to see the original Broadway cast of Dear Evan Hansen, which is a musical I absolutely love, and all the Dear Evan Hansen videos I've made have done really well on my channel and have been some of the better content that I've put out in terms of views and all of that good stuff. God, I went through all 4 years of high school, which was absolutely crazy and a time. I got to do my first ever author interview, which I've done a few now, and that's been really special. I've gotten to meet a lot of really amazing people in my lifetime and go to lots of really crazy events. And I started college, and it's just been a very wild ride, but this has been a way for me to express myself, to find myself, and I think it's given me an opportunity to really find my voice and figure out the type of person that I want to be. And I'm hopeful that I continue to grow. For me, numbers aren't the end of the world. Obviously, I would love to have more of a platform, but I know that I have a path and a journey, and that whatever's happening is happening, and there's not a lot that I can do to control it. And so it's up to me to just keep working hard and keep just making the best that I can of the situation that I have. I'm excited for the next few months, hopefully to get to move into my dorm, have better internet so I'll be able to upload more, and to be able to, get working, try to find maybe some sense of normalcy again, and maybe try to do a little bit more reading. It was nice to talk to all of you. Thank you for everyone who tuned in and watched this, and for everyone who hung out with me. Both Tiernan and Bridget are absolutely wonderful, and two of my very great friends in the community. There's so many other amazing people that I love who have just really helped me to grow as a creator, and have been so nice to be friends with me and chat with me. And I'm so grateful to all of them. There's so many people who I can't thank enough for making these 5 years on YouTube really, really special. I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you all soon.